interest in this project will be low. So let's say client manager. You are working on a project, you are the project manager, and then you have a client manager. Where do you think he will come? Client manager is, he's a SPOC. You understand SPOC? Single point of contact. So if you have to interact on anything with the customer, he is a person you will have to approach.
Manage tools.
Correct? Absolutely correct. Because with respect to this project, his power is high, and since he is a client manager for this project, his interest also is going to be very high. So you will have to manage him closely. So your company has a policy that all the expenses must be approved by the finance controller. So where do you think you will place that finance controller in this grid? He is a stakeholder and he should fit somewhere here. Where do you think he will come?
Not very long.
Absolutely correct. Because his power will be somewhere here. With respect to project, not in the organization. With respect to this project, the power to influence this project, the power to impact this project will be somewhere here, and his interest also will be somewhere low, because he is approving expenses not only for your project but tens and 30s or hundreds and 50s other projects also. So he will be here in somewhere in monitor. And suppose a client said that okay, when your work is being done, we will send 2 of our programmer, 2 of our analysts or 2 engineers to your side who will help you in getting the data or doing the work, and in case if you have any hurdles or roadblocks, they can provide you the information. Now you know that these 2 people are coming with a hidden agenda. What is the hidden agenda?
You know how much work you have done.
Correct. So they can keep on passing the information to client manager. So you will have to keep them here. Their power is low. They do not have any direct impact or influence, but their interest is very high. And
This
they,
ABCD points denote what?
yeah, this is just that A, B, C, D. So what happens is, this actually can create a political war in a company if you share that. How? If you share this as it is, and suppose you have put Nishant Shukla somewhere here. Now Nishant says this, so you think I'm low in power? Let me show you my power. And then the entire perspective will change, isn't it? So what you can do is, you can actually put this A, B, C, D, and you can map this to your stakeholder register. You should never ever share this as it is with your stakeholders, because this can actually hurt their egos. They can attack or touch at a very sensitive part, that is ego, and then you will have major problems. Person says, oh, so you think my interest is low in this project. You mean to say I'm not interested. You mean to say I'm not working, I'm not paying attention. Okay, I'll show you what power I have. Okay. So what you will do is, you will identify the people and you will give them the rating or whatever it is, or it can be the other way around also. So what you do is, you make your own codes. You plot the codes here, and then identify the set of stakeholders who know to be put into this keep satisfied, and you add that code everywhere. Here? So this will help you understand what is their level of interest and what is their level of influence. With this, you will make your strategy that okay, this person who is here in keep satisfied grade section, we need not to meet him on a weekly basis or on a daily basis. What we are going to do is, the strategy we are making to manage the stakeholder is, we will provide him a high level dashboard once in a month. Because they are high in power, so we may decide to get into a face-to-face meeting, or let's say conference call also, if needed. Maybe once in a month, once in a quarter, we will have a face-to-face call and will provide a monthly high-level dashboard. Person managed closely, so we need to provide the proactive information. So we will set up face-to-face meeting on weekly basis. We'll make a complete strategy that okay, we are going to meet this gentleman on face-to-face on a weekly basis. Who are the audience in that meeting? We will have to invite certain set of people. Who will be the leader in that meeting? Who will organize it? Who will be the facilitator? Okay, all those people. You will have to document everything and what set of information you are going to share with the people. How you are going to do that? So maybe we will provide a 10 dashboard, a 10 slide dashboard, which will have the details about the scope, time, cost, quality, HR, and all quality and risk. All the strategy. I can show you a sample register, and you'll be able to find out that. And based on this, how you are going to manage them? When I say effectively manage, it means what? It means we are going to provide them the right information using the right communication method and tools at the right frequency. And we will also document who is the person who is responsible to send this communication to the stakeholder. For example, you have one senior person here, client's VP, and he has asked specifically that I want to review this project on a monthly basis. Now you cannot send your junior analyst for a meeting with a client VP. So in your strategy you will say this meeting will be led by project manager and the sponsor must be present in that meeting. Even before the project has started, you will do this analysis and you will have to share this with all the stakeholders that this is our communication management plan. So communication and stakeholders will go hand in hand. Is it clear? So using this, we are going to come up with our stakeholder register where we will do the analysis, requirement analysis, and then we will make our strategy that how we are going to manage our expectation. We already discussed that, so I will just touch it superficially. So we will need our PM plan, stakeholder register, EEF and OPA, and we are going to do the expert judgment or analytical techniques. Analytical techniques is the same thing. What is their communication requirement? Who all should be managed? What is the influence? Are they supporter? Are they resistor? What is their desired state? What is their current state? Current state means current state maybe they are resistor. That means they are resisting this project, and we want them to become our supporter in 3 months' time. So their current state is R, and desired state is S. That is supported. How we are going to do that? Not that every Friday we will take them out to a pub or to a restaurant for party or something. No. We don't do that. What we will do is, we will find out why he is resisting this project. Maybe he does not have that confidence that you can handle that project. Maybe he does not have that confidence on the team. Maybe he had some past experience with some project team where the project failed. Could be hundreds of reasons. How you can win his confidence is by providing him the right communication at the right time, the right approach. That is a strategy that you are going to make here. Okay? And you will update that in your stakeholders management plan. So your stakeholder register and the project document update, the key document you are going to update here is your stakeholder register. For each stakeholder, you will have the basic information. Who is the person, whom he reports to, what are the contact details, what role he or she is playing in the project. And then where does it fit into that power versus grid. So you will add a field that influence. Influence is high, mid or low. What is the current state? Current state can be a resistor. What is the desired state? Supporter. And how we are going to manage that? Okay, meet on a weekly basis. What is the medium? Face to face. How are you going to meet that? Face to face. What are the data points we are going to review with them? So on every week we are going to talk about the work done so far, the KPI that we are going to review, what is the plan, we are going to review the risk and other issues here. That becomes your strategy. So your stakeholder management will consist of all this information we already discussed. You can go through that later on. And then we get into our managed stakeholder engagement. So after we do the plan, we now get into execution. So we identified the stakeholders, then we made our plan, and then we are doing work. Now when we are doing work, we have to ensure that they are effectively engaged. Their needs and expectations are being met. Okay? And how we can do that is, we need to refer to our stakeholder management plan, and we also need to refer to our communications management plan. Okay? Why communication management plan?
Because there are predefined methodology written
Absolutely.
in the communication plan.
Correct. So when we say meet their needs or expectations, how we are going to meet their expectations? By providing them the right communication at the right time. Isn't it? And we will also use our change log. Now why change log is needed here?
During the communication, if there is any address any issue that they occur, then log those changes.
Correct. So suppose, I mean not completely correct, but the partial. You are doing work and you started working on that, and when you did this check, there was some change. It followed the change. Now what happens is, during this work, let's say there was a deviation with respect to time. Delay happened. And we identify the reason why the delay is happening. The delay has happened because of raw material supplied with the delay.
And feedback time.
Feedback time also, but let me stick to this one, that your vendor did not provide you the raw material on time. So it got delayed. So what happens is, you checked it and now you have to act. So the delay that has happened, you cannot do anything, but the work was done within the scope, and let's say cost also marginally got affected. So you will close this, but now you will take some preventive action. Preventive action is that we are not going to depend on that particular vendor only. We will change our vendor, we will add one more vendor. Who initiated this? Project manager. Project manager initiated this. He raised a change request, giving the reason why we are doing this, the impact of this and everything, and it went to CCB. And looking at the gravity of the situation, CCB approved it, change control board. Then what will happen? Your plan was updated, and when you do work, next piece of deliverable, where you need to purchase the raw material for the next deliverable, you will refer to whom? To the new vendor. How that will happen? That can happen only when everyone is aware, or at least the people who are going to place the order, they are aware that okay, we have a new vendor also added. Isn't it? Okay. So that is one thing. Let's say the project performing team also became aware of this. After you have done the work, you have to make the payment, and this goes to your finance controller, who will have to approve the payment receipt, or who will have to approve that payment. Now finance controller says, boss, last time you gave me the bill of ABC Limited. Now you are giving it for XYZ Limited. What is it? I am not going to approve it. How it has happened? Why it has happened? I was not informed. No one took my approval. I will not do that. So it is important that if you are changing any factor, you maintain a change log, document the change, and depending on the people, depending on their influence, depending on the work area that can be impacted, you will have to send this communication to all that okay, this piece of information has changed. Isn't that true? Yes or no, ma'am? Clear? So we will raise a change request. We will use our change log to communicate that information. When the information, when we talk about meeting their expectations, is we will have to provide them the communication using these communication methods. What are the methods? Your face-to-face meetings, isn't it? Your review, your conference, audio conference, video conference, and we need to use our interpersonal skills and management skills. Now the question that you asked, the point that you raised will we reviewed and discussed here. You will have to use your interpersonal skills to make sure that the stakeholders, their expectations are being fulfilled. You will have to use your management skills to address if there are any issues. And of course, when you go to the person, when you present some data to them, you may have some conflicts. Those conflicts will be a part of your issue log. Conflicts can result into issue. Sorry, not a conflict, but the conflicts may result into an issue. Let's say you presented the communication to a stakeholder and stakeholder says, I don't agree. Like your case, customer, you went to the customer and customer says, I don't agree that the design is complete. You have to show me proofs.
Suppose I have sent a SRS document.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But customer and I have asked him to within 15 days he will give us feedback, and then after we will start next phase.
Okay.
But they are not reviewing it and give us feedback and demanding face-to-face meetings.
Correct.
And send your analysis team to us, and they show present give presentation and we will give you present.
Sir, if that is a situation which is arising at this stage, it means there is something majorly wrong at the planning stage. Because all this plan that we talk about, you must have shared it with the stakeholder, with the customer. What we need to share is, you need to share this entire project management plan with the customer, and you need to take their sign off and approval on that. That this is the way we are going to communicate. If you have any issue, if you have any challenges, if you have any conflict, let us know now. During the project, I am not saying that don't change.
At that time, client is agree.
Okay.
Client was agree.
Mm.
If you will send us document, we will review and give you feedback.
Okay.
But when they started studying documents, SRS, they can't understand another problem.
It means again,
some.
I got your point. Again, some of the responsibility will have to be shared by the project manager also. Why? Because project manager failed to understand the requirement of the customer or requirement of the stakeholder. And communication management plan, we talk about stakeholder communication requirement analysis. Okay? If the customer is a non-technical person, project manager should have identified at that point of time, and he should have made the strategies accordingly.
Suppose at the time of analysis and planning stage, some client person are registered with good software and IT knowledge. But when we, after preparing the analysis document, they recruit some another.
Those person left and new people came and they want to review it. Okay.
And that at this situation what we have.
Okay. So what in this case what happens is, of course you cannot anticipate everything. If the client side there are major changes happening. But what happens is, if the client says, okay, I need 15 days, then you need to share the entire plan with them. That okay, fine. Okay, you will not use the word which I am saying, that I don't care whether you join today or tomorrow. All I want is approval in 3 days time. You will not use that word, but that should be your intention. The moment they say, okay, now I want 15 days to review this, I am going to read this, I am going to read that. You will have to document that. How? Boss, this is our plan. We were supposed to get an approval in 2 days time. If we do not get the approval in 2 days time, this is how it will have a cascading effect. And it is going to impact our overall project finish date, and then you don't give any vague estimation. You say, if you delay it by 10 days here, it is going to result in a delay of 15 days at the project finish time. And we as a performing organization have agreed to a date, and this will have some cost overrun. So we will have to review, we will have to call in for a meeting immediately to address this issue, that who will bear the cost of this delay. The moment they get to hear this, that is, it is impacting it like this, then they will also become defensive. They will say, okay, fine, let me just look into this, how much time I need. Can you connect with the person? And see, as a project manager, I mean, fine, you have made the plan, but you need to have some amount of flexibility also. But you will have to use it very judicially. For example, simplest example, we come here for the workshop, and I make a time that, okay, we'll start at this time, we'll end at this time. Believe me, I am being very, very lenient in this workshop. Because, I mean, it's not that I am not taking it professionally. Have you noticed anything that I am not taking a proper interest or something? My intentions are 100% correct. But somehow, because the group is so closed, it's not that kind of environment. I'm very particular about 5 minutes or 80%. Time to start, time to end. It has to start and it has to end at this way. But sometimes what happens is, during heavy topics, people feel, information overflow. I can make out from their faces. I can make out from each and every person, because I maintain eye contact with, if there are 30 people, I will have an eye contact with all those 30 people. By looking into their eyes, I can find out which one is destined, which one is not. And then I tell them, do you want a break? Immediately everyone will say, yes, I need a break. Okay, fine, let's take a break, 10 minutes break, unscheduled break. Why I have to do this? I am strict with respect to time, but at the same time, I need to have some flexibility. What is the point of having that such a strict discipline where people are being tested or being pressurized beyond their capacity? They have too much of data flowing their side, so it is important that they get up and they take a 10-minute break, they charge up, refresh themselves and come back with a fresh energy, and then rest it there. So you will also have to, I mean, being strict is important, but there has to be some amount of flexibility, isn't it? So then they will say, okay, fine, it cannot be 10 days, but let me give me 2 days time, or can we get into a call, can I connect with you on a list because I'm new? Then that request is genuine. Yes, he is new, he need to be updated on that. Then you set up a call, ad hoc communication, and tell them what it is. But you will have to make them aware of the consequences. If you fail to do this, if you agree to what they are saying, it is your fault. You cannot hold them responsible for it. Remember on the day one what I said? The ability to say no is one of the most important qualities that a project manager must have. You must be very particular about what you want, what you don't want. Saying no, clear, concise and crisp no is very, very important. No. Fine? And so, your interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills means when you manage stakeholders, what? Providing them the communication. It could be a face-to-face meeting, audio conferences. You will have to present the data with a confidence. That confidence is very, very important. If you are not confident about what you are saying, people will start doubting your capabilities. They will have more questions associated with it. Isn't it? And what can help you gain confidence? Is your information, is the data. You must be familiar with the data. Else, you will not be able to do that. Management skills, your influencing skills, your convincing power, your presentation skills. The presentation skills are very important. Many other people, what they do is, the common mistake what they make is, if they are asked to make a presentation, they will run the PPT slides, they will put it in the slideshow, they will stand here and they will start reciting everything that is written there in the PPT. That's a very, very general and very common mistake that people make. That is not the way. The information you have put that in the PPT is already there. People can read it. What additional information you are giving to them? If you are saying that my KPI is, my key performance indicator is red, everyone can see that red. So your responsibility doesn't add, okay, so this week we have this red and we will do something to make it green next week. No. You will say, as you can see, this KPI is red. The reason behind this is so and so and so. More than the reason, the emphasis should be on what actions and steps you have taken so that it will not happen in future. That is what is going to give the confidence to your stakeholders. Is it clear? And your confidence is the most important thing, and your smile is another important thing. Because if you are not smiling, it means people will assume that okay, you yourself are nervous. Why you are nervous? They may not think directly on these lines, but this is a subconscious thought process which will be instigated there. This person is not smiling, it means he is nervous. Why he is nervous? Maybe he doesn't have the full information or complete information. And that is where they will start losing trust and confidence. If you are smiling, you know the person cannot smile if he doesn't have a solid backup. And in this case, what is the backup? The right data and right information. Clear? And you will have to start voicing your concern if you are not doing so. That is very important. When you get into call, you will always find there are some people who will always be doing they are waiting for the opportunity. They are waiting for their turn to come. The call will finish, the meeting will get over, and they will still be waiting for that. And during the last of the call, when the call is about to get over, and then someone saying, actually I wanted to make a point there. By that time, people's mindset has already changed. They are in the exit mode now. They want to close this as soon as possible. And then you start to say something and people will be irritated. They may not show their frustration immediately, but they will not take interest also in what you are saying. So, when you get into the meeting, please set the agenda very clearly. If you have any point to raise which is not a part of the agenda, raise it immediately the moment it comes to your mind. Suppose you realize that there has to be something in between. You'll stop it, interrupt it in between, and then you say, okay, I just got a thought. So please keep 5 minutes in the last for discussion on that point as well. My apologies that I forgot to add that, but while having the discussion, I just realized that maybe we should discuss around that. So I am adding something on an ad hoc basis. So at the end, please ensure that 5 minutes are kept there. Or do you want to discuss in this call, or you want to set up the next call? So these are small things, but make a huge impact on the project. Is it clear? And as a result, you may have your issue log, because I told you, if people have conflict, it may result into an issue. You may raise a change request. Suppose the customer's expectations are not being met. That person is saying that okay, there is a conflict, that I do not have visibility on the project. I don't have confidence on you that you can take this project properly. It means what? That person is not having confidence because he might not be getting the right information at the right time. Then you raise a change request. That okay, we need to change the way we provide the data to them. And subsequently you will have the PM plan update, document update and OP updates. Is that clear? So that is about the managed stakeholder part, which we do in the execution, and then we do the control stakeholder. If there are issues, let's say I gave the example in communication that one fine day your sponsor calls you and says that what is happening, the director is asking me to send the report or some data, he is not getting it on time, and then you say, see, we have been sending it to him but he is not reading that and all these things. It means what? It is already an issue. This becomes an issue. And we also have the work performance data that okay, we have been sending this mail to him, but it is not making the impact. Then what you will do is, you will again raise a change request. You are saying the work performance information, it means the expectations are not being met, the stakeholders are not happy with the project. Then what we will do is, we will change the request. So okay, instead of sending this monthly dashboard to this person, we are now going to meet him on face-to-face basis. Once in a month, we will have a face-to-face meeting. That meeting will be led by project manager, and the sponsor will also be present in that. And we are going to talk about the 4 or 5 key points every day. We are going to review these KPIs of the project at a high level. Is that clear? With that request, we will have the subsequent update to our PM plan and documents and OPA. Because whatever work performance we have, work performance information, whatever change request we have, we need to update our change log and subsequent documents, and we need to archive that information as well. Is that clear? Any issues? Any questions? Anything that is not clear? All clear? Sir, clear? And so that's all with the stakeholder. It was pretty small.
A.
What about you, sir? Yes, sir.
C.
See? What about you, sir?
Roles and registers.
A. Management has requested that you create a document detailing what information will be expected from the stakeholders and to whom that information will be disseminated. Okay. So what, management is asking for which one of the following? Roles and responsibility matrix? No. They are looking for your communications management plan. Remember the table? Who, what, when. That is a part of your communications management plan. Clear?
C.
Yes, sir.
D. D.
What about you? Well, correct answer is C. It clearly says identifying the stakeholders and their communication need. This is in your stakeholder register. This word identifying the stakeholders itself is sufficient to pick up the right answer. That is, in stakeholder register only we will have a list of all the stakeholders.
But communication needs also in there.
Sorry?
Communication needs.
Communication and their communication need. Yes. You remember in the communication, one of the input in communication plan was your stakeholder register. And what we do in stakeholder register, we identify the stakeholder and we understand what position they have, what is the level of power and influence they have. Based on that, in the communication plan, we will do their communication requirement analysis. How we do the communication requirement analysis? We will identify their communication needs.
But the identification of that communication needs will not be in the stakeholder register. No, it's an output of that.
It will be updated in that also. In that will be the input. So the stakeholder register will be an input.
Yeah.
You will add some more information and you will give it that as an output. Updated register will be the output. Is it clear? Clear, sir? Sure?
Communication is same problem.
Okay, I will open that communication also. See, all these knowledge areas are interlinked. You know?
Sometimes it looks same.
Sometimes
Most of
it
the
makes
time.
sense. So plan communications management. What we have here is stakeholder register. First. With stakeholder register, because this register we will have to work, see, we have a constraint that we will have to do in a linear fashion. We will complete one module, then only will go to the next module. But when you are doing this, you will be doing all this work concurrently. Update one, go to the next, do some work, come back to one, and keep on updating. It will be a loop, cyclic. So we have register, stakeholder register will have this, their positioning, their influence, their current state. Based on that, we'll do the communication requirement analysis, and we are going to come up with our communication management plan and also project documents update. So in project documents, the key document that will get updated here is your stakeholder register. This you will have to read PMBOK. You will have to read that, read and read and read. That's the key.
ऐसा एक चैनलाइज की बना के दे देना पिंबॉक का
What?
Total flowchart.
That is there. That is, PMBOK has, PMI has already realized the need of that. Yeah, the standard for project management of a project. So this is actually useful. So this is actually your project boundaries, and then you will have for each process, they actually have done the mapping. So you have the project integration management, develop project charter coming from integration, that will lead to your identify stakeholders. And this is going to pull up some information from your charter also. Okay. And then when you come down, you will see this document, develop project management plan. So develop project management plan is a part of your, it will receive inputs from your scope management, and this is the flow in scope management. It will receive input from your project time management, and these are process and time management. So PMBOK has considered that also. See, it's not a small thing. This is a result of their maybe 40 years of efforts. So if they are charging $555 for a PMP certification examination, I think it's really worth it. And they deserve it also. Because this work is not a small thing. You talk about cost management, then you will have to do all this process in the cost management and so on.
इसमें थोड़ा और डिटेल में जाए ऐसा होना चाहिए
इसमें भी और डिटेल में जाए तो उसके लिए
उसी के अंदर इसमें वन पेपर only.
Sir, you hire me as a consultant and I'll do it for you. Because what you're asking is a huge amount of work. And believe me, it will not fit into one slide.
These books which you are told, no, this Rita, Mercury, and all, is that something detail of this is given? Or?
Yeah, that will all have the information, but nothing can match the level and standard and information.
इसके बाहर तो कुछ होगा नहीं.
Source of all this book is this. You can read any book that you want, but that will be based on this book. And the next topic we have is project procurement management. What am I?
Right. So that I remember at least tomorrow what we have learned yesterday.
So, are you able to follow everything that we are doing? Sir? See, one thing is definitely there, you have to study. If someone comes and says that you will become an expert in project management after the workshop, no. See, please understand, I am not a teacher. I am an enabler. I am here to show you the path and give you the direction, but you have to walk on that. So you will have to study, you will have to read. You will have to read this PMBOK at least twice. And then only you will see the basic concept getting clear. Okay? So and I hope it is not information overflow at this point of time. Sure? So the key learning objective is what is the procurement and why it is required, and then the processes. So we'll start with the plan procurement management, which is in the planning group. Conduct procurement is your execution. Control procurement is monitor and control, and close procurement is your closing group. So this is another process where we have.
So in initiating we don't plan any procurement.
Sorry. In initiating we have nothing from the procurement. So you can look at this PMBOK also. Procurement management has a process in plans, execute, monitor, control, and close. Stakeholder has a process in this: initiate, plan, execute, and monitor, control. Okay. So the plan procurement management. So what is a procurement?
Identify vendor and
Buying
buy
something from outside
outside.
is your procurement.
And customer supplied documents.
What is that?
Means customers give some equipment tools or some documents, information, means guidelines.
No, sir.
guidelines.
Procurement can be done or may be done following those guidelines, but that is not something a part of your procurement management.
Suppose customer
So
gives
let's
us some
say
devices.
one second. Let's
Devices
say
on-
you have to deploy this website for that businessman, and then he says that okay, I want you to develop and activate the tracking software also. That when we send the courier, when we send the delivery, we should be able to track that. And for that, you have your server for website hosting, but we want a computer at our place also.
No, I am asking, I am telling you, suppose a scanner,
Okay.
barcode reader, yes. That device is our company
Has purchased it. Okay.
purchased it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, client send it, similar devices, and we have to load our application.
Yeah. See, that is completely different thing. Right now we are talking about
After
the
completion of
procurement
project, we
management.
have,
All those things will come.
Project.
All those things will come. We'll discuss about that. Don't worry. But right now, what I'm asking is procurement. What is procurement? Procurement is whenever you have to buy any product, service, or any thing from any third party. That you will have you will have to follow the processes defined here in procurement management plan. How we do that? What the guidelines we are going to review that. So what we need here is our project management plan, our requirements documentation. So this is covering your point. So customer is saying that okay, we want this requirement to be fulfilled, and then you say okay, we will give you this website, we will give you the tracking application, but you will have to buy a computer. Now customer can say, sometimes he can give the requirement that okay, we want the computer to be of specific configuration. It must be a branded one. So you buy anything, but that must be a branded one. So it must be from either HP or IBM or HCL or any company. You cannot assemble and give it to anyone. Or the company or the customer can say, okay, whatever company your computer give, it must have minimum 4 GB RAM and running on all original and the latest softwares.
some licenses,
Anything.
software.
So that will be a part of your requirements documentation. Sometimes you can decide to go for due to some risks also. What risks? Let's say for example construction. You have to, I gave you the example on day 2 also when talking about the cost. You have to do some construction, and that construction, that particular phase is falling during the peak monsoon. And in monsoon, it can wash out the work that you do. So as a mitigation plan, you decide to buy some plastic sheets to cover that area. So our decision of buying something or procuring something from outside is being triggered due to one of the risks. So we will have to use the risk register also as an input. Okay, sometimes your risk register can also prompt you or influence you to take a decision to buy something from outside. Our activity resource requirement, why it is needed? Sir, why do you think it is needed? Because sometimes the resources may not be available. Like if you have to prepare dinner for the guest and the person at home is busy or not there, or husband and wife both are working, who will cook that? Then you will decide to buy it from outside. So it means the effort that is needed, the resources that you require, the human resources that you require are not available in the organization, are not free in the organization. Then we will decide to buy this from outside. Schedule can be a trigger. for all the decision. Activity cost estimate, sometimes buying it from outside may turn out to be cheaper than making it in-house. Stakeholder register, sometimes the stakeholders can influence that decision that okay, we'll have to buy it from outside depending on their power and influence. And we will also use that okay, who are the people who are going to be involved in that decision making process? Who are the people who will decide whether we have to buy this or not? Who are the people who will decide that which vendor we should go for? Isn't it? That will come from our stakeholder register. And who are the people who need to be considered while taking the decision making? And that all must be within your enterprise environmental factor. Suppose your work requires handling of some hazardous material, like you have to use some chemicals. Your company policy says that this kind of work, any work which poses some kind of health threat to all the employees, you will not do that. Suppose it is you need for some work you require some acid. So what you do is you will outsource it to some other company, and you know that they are better equipped to handle that. They will have all the safety gears and all the gas masks and everything. That can be one of the reasons to take a decision for your procurement. Is it clear? With all this information, we are going to do our make or buy analysis. What is the make or buy analysis? You will consider these factors. This list again is not limited to these pointers only. So you will do your make versus buy decision by considering all these factors, and you can also do some market research to find out how it should be done, who are the key players, what are the standards available in the industry, and the output will be your procurement management plan. And your procurement management plan will consist of what type of contract, how the estimate will be verified, is there any pre-qualified or preferred vendors, standard documentations, lead times, constraints, assumptions, metrics to be used for managing contracts and sellers. And the important information in this become, from the examination point of view, the most important information in here is this type of contract. So we have three major categories, three major types of contract. First is your fixed price or lump sum contract. So I'll give you an example which will fit into all this. Suppose you have to travel from here to airport and you call a cab. So the cab driver comes and he says, sir, no matter what point of time you are traveling, no matter how many people are traveling, up to 4, I will charge fixed 700 rupees from here to airport. Okay? No matter what route I take, whether it is traffic or not, congested or not, I will charge just 700 rupees. That is a simple fixed price contract. And what you tell him is, okay, fine, but there is a condition. Right now it is 5 o'clock and my flight is at 8 o'clock. For the 8 o'clock flight, it is important that I reach there by at least 6:45. So if you drop me at 6:30, considering the traffic and all these factors, if you drop me at 6:30, I will give you 600 rupees as a fixed price plus 150 rupees as an incentive. Okay, so you will have some motivating factor for him, and you are also adding or transferring some component of risk to him also. And you tell him, if you drop me at 6:45, I will give you 100 rupees an incentive because you did not perform well. If you drop me after 6:45, then I will not give you 75 or 100 rupees, but I will give you just 50 rupees. So his total payout will turn out to become 650 rupees, which is much below than what he had asked for. Not much, but quite below. So what you are doing is, you are adding on a fixed price plus some component of that you are linking with the performance, isn't it? That is your fixed price with incentive type of contract. And suppose the condition situation is that you travel a lot and every week you need to take at least 2 flights, so you need to travel twice to airport. And then you tell him, boss, every week is a tussle. and I don't want to get into this. So let us have an agreement that for 1 year, whenever I have to go to airport, I'll call you. And I'm going to pay you 650 rupees or 600 rupees. So he says, sir, it is low, but again, looking at this fact that, okay, you are giving me consistent order, we will agree on a price, but the fuel prices are fluctuating. And then you agree on a term that, okay, I will give you fixed 650 rupees at the current rate. If the diesel price goes up by 1 rupee a litre, I will give you 50 rupees raise. If the diesel price goes up by 2 rupees a litre, I will give you 100 rupees raise in this rate. If the price comes down, then I will pay you 50 rupees less. That is your fixed price, economic price adjustments. And that is for
rate
your
contract also. We say rate contract.
rate contract. What is the rate contract?
Means a fixed rate raw material will be supplied by supplier.
No, let us cover all, and then we'll see where does it fits. Okay. So this is normally used for your long-term contracts, because the cost of services, the cost of raw material can change significantly over a period of time. So we are leaving some scope for future adjustments. Is it clear? Sir, clear? Not clear? Then we have time and second type of contract is time and material contract. Time and material is what? He says, sir, what we'll do is, the distance from here to airport is, let's say, 20 kilometers. So let us go to this petrol bunk and you buy 2 liters of diesel. Okay, and whatever time it takes, you pay me 350 rupees an hour. If it takes 1 hour, all you need to pay is 2 liters of diesel and 350 rupees for 1 hour. If it is more than 1 hour, up to 2 hours, then you need to pay me 700 rupees plus the diesel. Or on a prorated basis, half an hour is 175 or something like that. So based on the time that he will take to reach airport and his fuel consumption, he is going to charge you accordingly. That is your time and material contract. Okay. Then third type of contract is your cost reimbursable contract, and here the cost plus incentive fee. It can be a paying cost reimbursable also. He will say, sir, let's go by meter. Whatever comes in the meter, you give me that. So whatever is coming in the meter is my cost, and you give me that. Or cost plus incentive fee. Cost plus incentive fee is, okay, whatever comes in the meter over and above 50 rupees or 100 rupees. Like if you go to airport, if you go to Delhi airport and you book a cab, whatever comes in the meter, you will have to pay 80 rupees as a fixed fee. They are parking charges. When you go to Bombay airport, this becomes 50 rupees. Fine? That is your cost plus incentive fee. Sorry. That is your cost plus fixed fee. I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. That is your cost plus fixed fee. So that 80 rupees is fixed. No matter what is in the meter, no matter how much distance you cover, that 80 rupees will remain fixed. And then cost plus incentive fee. So again we are linking this to the performance. So you tell him that, okay, fine, if you drop me at 6:30, whatever comes in the meter plus 150 rupees I'll give you. If you drop me at 6:45, then whatever comes in the meter, that plus 100 rupees I'll give you. But if you drop me after 6:45 or let's say 7 o'clock, then whatever comes in the meter, I'll just pay you that. I won't give you anything. No incentive for you. Because I am linking it to his performance. Is that clear? Then comes your cost plus award fee. So cost plus award fee is quite similar to cost plus incentive fee, and the bonus is also based on performance. But there is a difference. So can anyone guess what could be that difference?
Incentive is fixed, but this will vary.
Yes, you're getting close to it. That is also true. Incentive is fixed, as you correctly said, and it is also agreed by both the parties. Whereas the bonus is on the discretion of the buyer. So suppose you got into the cab and the cab is absolutely neat and clean from inside. That guy is playing the music of your choice. He is not giving any jerk, no rash driving, he is following all the rules. He has kept some cold water bottle and he has some fresh news, latest newspaper and some magazines also. And you know, he is absolutely neat and clean. So you feel very happy. And when you reach there, whatever comes in the meter, over and above that, you give him 200 rupees as tip. Then I am very happy with your services. So who decided that? Did he ask that, sir, give me the 200 rupees tip? No. It is on your discretion because you felt happy with the services he rendered to you. Then you decided him to pay the bonus. So the incentive is agreed upon by both the parties, whereas the bonus is on the discretion of the buyer. Clear? And then your cost plus fee or cost plus percentage fee. So cost plus percentage fee or cost plus fee is okay. Like if you travel in the night after 11 o'clock, so whatever comes in the meter, you will pay 150% of that. 50% over and above extra as a night charges. If it comes 100 rupees in the meter, you will have to pay 150. If it is 200 rupees, you need to pay 300 rupees. Whatever is there, you will have to pay 50% of that extra. So that is your cost plus fee or cost plus percentage fee. So are you clear with this contract type? And remember this arrow also. Risk progressively increases for buyer. In fixed price, the buyer's interests are safeguarded and seller is at a risk. So in the fixed price, so you know the road. And okay, another important thing is how you should take a decision that which type of contract is good. If you have, as a buyer, if you have absolute clarity on the scope, then you will go for fixed price. If both of you do not have any clarity on the scope, you and the seller also, buyer and seller both, then you can decide to go for time and material contract. Okay? If you have some doubt, but your other person, the seller, has a good control over the scope, then you can go for your cost plus or cost reimbursement contract. So this arrow shows the risk increasing for your buyer, and for the seller it is the other way around. Is that clear? You will sorry?
Seller in lump sum contract, seller is having very low risk.
No, seller has a high risk. Buyer has, see, the risk is increasing progressively. Green means very low risk. Low risk for buyer, but high risk for seller. In this one, cost plus percentage fee, your driver, the cab or auto driver, his interest is very low, because if it increases, if the distance increases, if he has to take a diversion due to some traffic jam, he will be happy because he is going to get more money. But who will be at a loss? You as a buyer will be at a loss. Isn't that? Please remember this arrow and the sequence also. You will definitely have one question coming from the risk, that which type of contract has a higher risk for buyer or higher risk for seller. Definitely have one question from this, and this slide you will get minimum 2 questions. Okay. So in your procurement plan, you will decide what type of contract it is going to be, and you will also release your procurement statement of work. Procurement statement of work is what? You remember in the project charter we had the project statement of work. That means the project is being undertaken to do what work. And here we will say the procurement is being done to procure what product, service or result from outside. What is the exact amount of work that we need to get done from outside. And you will also have your procurement documents, that is RFP or RFI. You know what is RFP, RFI? Request for proposal or request for information. And you will have your source selection criteria. Source selection criteria is okay, for this work only those companies who have some ISO certification will be allowed. Only those companies can participate in the bid whose turnover is 100 crore plus and so on.
Standards.
Or the standards, absolutely. They must follow certain standards like CMMI level or some other standards. And you will have to raise, or you may have to raise some change request as well. Why change request?
So there is change in the vendor selection. Or new vendor is introduced.
Yeah, blacklisted client.
No, we haven't come to that stage yet. So, let's say construction. We know that there is a risk. The risk is that the way it is scheduled, the roofing activity or that outside or the exterior paint is falling during the peak monsoon season. To protect us from or to safeguard our interest from that risk, we have decided to purchase some sheets from outside. That sheets, if you're buying something, it means additional cost. So what you'll do is, you will now raise a change request. That the plan that we have made, cost based and that we say, we need to make some changes to it. Because we are buying it from outside. Okay? Your initial estimate, let's say you had already decided you are going to buy it from outside, you already did some estimation, but when you do your market research, you realize that you will not get very good quality plastic sheet in that price. So what you do is, you will raise your change request.
And government policies are changed.
Absolutely, government policy changes. If you have to do the procurement because of that reason, then it may require some changes in your schedule and the scope also.
In construction, so due permission related that.
Correct. So you will raise the appropriate change request, and again it will go through your change control process and will be updated accordingly. Is it clear? Sure? So once we have planned it, then we get into our execution where we will do the conduct procurement. So this is the process of obtaining the seller responses, selecting a seller and awarding a contract. What we need here is our PM plan that will tell us what is to be done. Procurement documents. What are the procurement documents? RFP, RFI, okay, and source selection criteria which is coming from the previous process, and the response from the vendors or the seller on that. They will give you they will submit the bids, they will give you the quotations, project documents. What are the project documents here?
Project charter. Project
Could be a charter. Here charter can also be an input. Some of the documents like your baselines can be an input. Your risk register can be an input. Your stakeholder register can be an input. Make or buy decisions. So in the previous process, we did make versus buy analysis. And then we decided, yes, we have to buy that. So taking a decision is not enough. You will have to document that, and you will also have to provide the information why you have decided to buy it from outside. Isn't it? Because that will help you understand what type of vendor you need to find out.
And the specifications?
Specifications will be a part of your this one, request for information, request for proposal, or maybe your requirement documents here. So the project document can also include your requirement documents coming from the customer. which will help you define your specifications, which will be already documented in your procurement documents. So make versus buy decisions and procurement statement of work. What is the exact piece of work that you are looking forward to get done from outside? And your OPA. So what is OPA here?
Any historical
Historical data, the templates that you use, the information, not information, the templates or the tools that you need to use for your vendor selection or some other activity. And
quality control related data.
yes, quality related data also can be there. That will be part of your PM plan.
When we goods receive, we need to some checking this quality.
Correct, but that will be a part of your project documents and the procurement documents. And also the PM plan. OPA will contain the process. Let's say the organization process says that you cannot have a closed bidding process. It has to be an open bidding process. What is open bidding? That means you will, of course, you will invite the closed and sealed quotations, but you will open them together in the presence of all the bidders. Isn't it? That is a process which is there in the company. So you will have to follow that process. There may be a process that, okay, you need to involve some third party into review. You will have to involve that. So you will do the bidders conference. You may decide to invite all the bidders for a meeting, open meeting, and where they are discussing the things openly. Proposal evaluation technique. Whatever is prevalent in the OPA, you may have some prevalent techniques that, okay, our company will not go with the cheapest vendor always. We will look at the other factors also. We will look at the historical relationship. We will look at the historical data, that how that vendor has performed in past, track record. We will look into that. And many companies, when you have to go and buy something, as I told you, sometimes cost is not the only thing. If you have to buy a TV, if you go to market, you will find Akai is the cheapest TV. But do you go by price? If that was a factor, Akai would have been the highest selling product in India. No. People still buy Sony and Samsung, which are much more expensive. That means there are different techniques to evaluate the product that they want to buy. Then your independent estimate, you can hire some third party estimators. You must have seen that when you go for construction, that within that board on the bottom you see project consultant KPMG, project consultant Deloitte and Touche. Isn't it? Sometimes the entire bidding process can be done by those companies also. Your expert judgment, of course, people who are specialized in this work. This can be decided by whether you have the centralized process or decentralized process. Centralized process means in your company you have a purchase department, and for any procurement related thing you will have to go through them only. They are the people who are going to take all the decisions and everything. If you have the centralized procurement process, then you as a project manager will have very limited authority or say in all these things. If you have the decentralized processes, it means for this project or for all the respective projects, the project manager will have to do all this work and decisions. Then his power and authority will be very high. And then you can use the input from the people who handle the purchases specifically. Advertising, you may participate in the advertising, you may release advertising to invite more proposals, or maybe some policy says that okay, it must be advertised in the newspaper, like all the government contracts. It is decided, under the table it is already decided who is going to get it. But for the sake of formality, for the sake of processes, they will still get to see that in the paper. That this is the work that for which we are inviting the bidders. Analytical techniques. What are the analytical techniques here?
They decide this L1
Comparison
and
test.
level 1, 2, 3
Correct.
areas
Correct.
in which then they consider proposals and finalize. That is one type of analysis that
You may have to do some financial analysis, technical analysis, and you will have to do some negotiations with the vendor. So what are the negotiations? about the scope, about the most importantly about the cost and about the time also. And the output of this process is going to be your selected sellers, one or more than one selected sellers. Agreements, you will have the agreements with them, that is your terms and conditions. You will document, you will sign the MOU, you will sign the NDA, memorandum of understanding or non-disclosure agreement, and you will also state your terms and conditions that okay, depending on the type of contract, this is the amount of incentive you are going to pay. But if it is not delivered on time, there may be some what? Penalties. Okay. Resource calendars. You will update your resource calendars, you will block your resource calendars for some review or activities. Or earlier you had decided to do it inside. Now you will have to free up those resources. Isn't it? Change request. Why change request here? Any guesses?
Amendments.
Sorry?
There
Sorry?
Amendment in quantity and
But we are actually right now doing it. So why we need to make the amendments here?
Delivery period may not be met by
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you did your own estimation, you estimated that this should be done in 30 days time. But when you do this process, when you do the negotiations, when you sign the agreement, all the vendors said that there is no way this can be done in less than 45 days. And the vendor with whom you have finalized or signed the agreement, you can then lower the temperature. I mean, increase the temperature if you want. Yeah, you're feeling cold, I can see that.
Yeah, it's cold.
Okay. You are in the direct line of fire actually, so in this place you don't get that much.
That's why hot zone. That's the thing.
And another thing is I am doing the talking, so you know,
Yes.
I'm active, not physically but that is a mentally.
No, we are also listening. Maybe that is also.
You are absorbing everything. So you are absorbing that and you are absorbing this also. So the vendor said there is no way it can be done in less than 45 days. Then you may have to raise a change request to accommodate that in your schedule baseline. Clear? And you will have your subsequent updates to PM plan and project documents. Is it clear? Is that clear? Sure?
sure.
Your question that you asked, that the specifications and the terms and conditions, that you were able to understand that where it will get fulfilled?
Yes.
Where do you think we should update that now?
Here change request is here change request output.
No.
In
You will take the decision here while doing the make versus buy. So suppose you need a hand scanner, you need a scanner, barcode scanner. Okay, and the customer says that okay, we will supply you scanner which we buy from our vendor. And then you will evaluate all the criteria, you look at all of the factors. That's why I told you this list is not limited to this. It can go beyond this. Then you will tell them that see, we cannot use the scanner that you're providing for so and so reason, because they may not be compatible, they may have some compatibility issue, isn't it? You may have to spend additional money in doing the testing whether it is compatible or not. And at the end of the project, if we realize it is not compatible, then it may delay the project also. We should not be held responsible for that. And then customer gets scared and say, okay, fine, you buy anything that you want. Isn't it? So you will be reviewing that decisions or reviewing that information at the time of making the decision. You will have to justify that also, that why you have decided to buy from outside. Clear? Sure? And once we do the procurement, we have awarded the work to the seller and we have the agreement also with them, and now we need to start controlling it. Controlling is what? Monitoring and controlling. whether the work that is being done by the vendor is as per plan or not, and also managing our relationships, monitoring contract performance, and making changes and corrections as appropriate. Fine. What we need here is our PM plan. What is to be done? Procurement documents. That means, what is the procurement document here? Your procurement statement of work. What was to be done? Agreements, the terms and conditions, and your work performance. I will come to this later. Work performance report and work performance data. So why we need these two things here? Work performance report and work performance data. What is work performance reports?
KPIs and dashboard data of whatever work is done.
Absolutely. Electronically published data. So we will have the work performance data, which is a raw observation. When we do the analysis of that, we get work performance information. When we review that with respect to the entire project, so this activity was done in 4 days time, that is your WPD. When we compare it to our plan, we realize that there is a variance of negative variance of 1 day, it means behind the schedule. And then we need to find out how this negative variance of 1 day is going to impact our overall project. And we put that into a dashboard. So we need that dashboard, the progress report for the overall project, and also the raw observation. And we are going to do our procurement performance review. That how the procurements are going on. We will compare our plan with our actuals and we'll do the variance analysis here. We may also have to do inspections and audits. Sometimes even if the work is delivered, inspection is clear, but the audits can fail that. This is the process. In quality we talked about it, that audit will always be done on the processes. But in procurement we do inspections and audit in one single process only. For example, suppose you have an export house. You export the garments. You manufacture garments here and export that. And your buyer is in Europe, and the buyer has set a condition in his agreement that you will have to confirm that there is no child labor working in your company, in your premises. You agree to that and you sign it off. And you are continuously sending the consignments to your customer. One day you see that some person from the company has come for a surprise visit and to do the inspection and audit. So he will inspect the product which is being manufactured, the final result. He will say yes, this is fine. But he is going to do the audit also, whether you are following all the correct processes or not. And when he is doing all these things, he sees that there is a boy, small kid, who is serving tea and coffee to all the people. And then immediately he notices, he is a minor boy, what is doing here? And on that basis, he will terminate the contract or he will reject your consignment that no, there is a breach of contract. Isn't it? So we will do the inspection and audit. Now here what is happening is, the inspection, the product that you are manufacturing is of good quality, so it is getting through. But because now they realize that you did not follow, you did not adhere to the processes, so they are going to cancel it. Okay? Performance reporting, you will have to do the performance reporting of your work done by the contractor, your payment systems. Depending on the type of contract you have, depending on the agreement that you have, that what will be the frequency of the payment. That every fortnight you will raise the invoice. If it is a time and material contract, every fortnight. If it is a fixed price contract, we will break that into parts. On a quarterly basis, we are going to release that. Based on that, you are going to do your payment system and also have the claims administration. If it is a time and material, you will say, okay, submit the actuals for everything, and we are going to release the payment based on that. So you may have to do the claims administration. If it is linked to your performance, then they will set the claim that okay, for this project, for this task, we were ahead of schedule, so please give us some incentive. Records management system. Whatever discussions you have, whatever audit you do, reports of that. Whatever inspection you do, reports of that. Whatever review you are doing, reports of that. You will have to, and all the claims that they have made, the actual receipt, you will have to put that into your records management system. It means you will have to keep a track and record of this information separately. And what you are going to get as an output here is the work performance information. So work performance information is the analyzed work performance data which you will get after doing our performance review. Isn't it? Yes or no? Change request. What is the change request here?
Performance will not good, we can
Correct.
ask for change.
But something else? Anything else? Work performance is not appropriate. So let's say that person comes for inspection, he does the audit, and in audit he says, okay, there is a NCR, non-conformance. So he has raised his NCR. Now you will raise a change request that okay, we need to do a check and we have to ensure there is no minor working in the company. So if the services are provided by a third party company, we will terminate that, or maybe we will ask them to make some changes. And even if you have to pay some higher, we will do that. So what happens is you raise a change request. Change request will go through your change control process because it may have some additional impact on your cost, and once it is approved, you will use this here approved change request.
This is from the vendor, isn't it? How it will have my cost impact? I mean, it's a vendor's inspection failed. Vendor will repair it.
There is one more condition attached to it, preface suffix to everything if applicable. So this is between vendor and me. Suppose the vendor is going to pass on all the cost to me. If it is a time and material kind of contract, he will say, I will do whatever you want. You just approve the bill. And if the revised process is attracting some additional cost, you will have to bear that. Isn't it? You raise a change request, and when you do this review next time, you will use this approved change request as an input in the next occurrence. And this change request is a process which is internal to the performing organization. But when you have to make some changes in the terms and conditions with your vendor, you will be using your contract change control system. Contract change control system is different than your change control process in your organization. The approach may remain the same, but the parties involved are different. Once the change is approved by the CCB, Change Control Board or the performing organization, then only it will come to the contract change control system. So, with respect to the vendor, between this change and between this redo, you will have this contract change control system.
Means some attributes are added.
Some attributes are added, some terms and conditions are changed. Okay? And you will have subsequent updates of your PM plan, project documents and OPA. Is that clear?
But this is the controlling of the procurement.
Yes. This is the controlling of the procurement.
It's a tool to control the procurement basically, but we are making a change here.
Yes, we are making a change here.
It is supposed
So
to be
contract
about
change control
controlling
system is
mechanism.
what? So what is the change control process? I mean, forget this procurements. What is the change control process? The change control process says that whenever you feel there is a need of change, first of all you will fill up a form, change request form. You will send it to project manager. Project manager will review this and he will ask some people to do the impact analysis, that why this change is needed, what will change, to what degree it will change, what will be the impact of this into the scope, time, cost, quality, risk and other areas, and what if we don't do it. what will happen? So he will pull out this information from the team, or maybe he will do that himself. Then he is going to prepare a report and send it to change control board. Change control board can be of your sponsor. There may be some people, senior people from some other department also, or the program manager also. And they all review and they say, yes, this is needed and we need to do that, and we approve it. Then it will come to you and you will have to update your documents. So the plan that you are working as project plan version 1.1, now it will become project plan version 1.2. Okay. Now you have done the changes in your plan, but you need to ensure that it is reflecting in the contract between you and the buyer and the seller also. Then what you do is you come to the contract change control system. What is the contract change control system? This is again a process that if the seller has to change something, they will again fill up a form which might be given to you by the buyer. You will send it to the manager, account delivery manager of the buyer, of the seller. Then your team and the seller's team will have a joint meeting. They will review and then they will take a decision after reviewing all the factors whether to approve changes or not. And once it gets approved from there, then only you are going to make changes to your terms and conditions. Is it clear? Or was it something else? Is it answered? So, this is about managing your relationship, procurement relationships, monitoring the contract performance and making changes and corrections as appropriate. Any questions, any doubt?
Claim administration.
So claim administration is, suppose it is time and material contract. Okay, time and material is after you have this agreement that every 15 days your seller is going to raise an invoice and send it to you. That we have worked for 15 days and in 15 days time this is the material that we purchased. Okay. Then that involves they are claiming to do something, certain things. So you will have to do the administration of that. Isn't it? Whether the information that they have given is true in the nature or not true or not, whether the actual that they have provided, the receipt that they have given, that is correct or not, that is a part of your claims administration. And records management is, you will keep a track or you will keep a record of everything that is coming from the vendor. It could be their invoices, it could be the actual receipts or bills or whatever it is. Is it fine? And once all the work that was supposed to be done by the vendor is completed, you will get into the close procurement process, which can also be called as administrative closure. Okay. So what we need here is, we need project management plan and our procurement documentation. What was to be done and what all has been done and how it was done. We will do the audits. Suppose you may have a condition that okay, we have added the incentives and the penalties. If you delivered it, all the KPIs were green. If it was delivered in time, there would be some incentive or some bonus. But if you have not delivered it on time, there were some red KPIs. There may be some penalties also.
And if you have annual maintenance contract.
Annual maintenance contract, then you will
Suppose
close it.
I have purchased some
AMC will not, yeah, you can do that, but AMC you will not, you will do that post procurement only when the contract is getting over.
contract is over.
Then
Means I have purchased, I have integrated some.
you bought a server in your company and you gave the maintenance to a company. Now the 1 year contract is getting over. So what you do is you look like what was the plan, what was the work that was supposed to be done by them, and what were the conditions we had set, what were the agreements, and how they had done the work throughout the year. Then you do your audit. In audit, what you do is you will pull out the information you will see the process that you had, whether it was followed or not. You will find out that okay, the agreement was that every time we have an issue in the server, we will give you a call and raise a ticket. Within 6 hours of raising ticket, your person should come and visit our premises. But we saw most of the time he was coming next day, after 12 hours or 18 hours. It means the condition was not met. And then you will have to have negotiations, because your buyer or your seller can say, sir, you used to raise all the requests at 5 p.m. in the evening and your company closed down at 6 o'clock. Tell me, how can I send a person to you in the night when there is no one working at your side? That's why you used to send it next day. Then you will have the negotiations. You will have the some allegations or cross allegations or counter allegations and the cross check or whatever it is. You may have to pull out the information from your records management system. You will have to find out, okay, how many times you made the payment, what all transactions have taken place between you and the seller. You may have to refer to all those, you may have to pull out information associated with those. And once you agree on everything, you are going to close the procurements. You will do the administrative closure of the procurement and you are going to document your lessons learned. On also what worked in this contract, what did not work. So next time when you go for the procurement, you can use this as an input. Clear? Is it clear, sir? Your question is answered? No? What was it?
Suppose I have purchased one third party component. Okay.
Yeah.
Suppose direct control I have purchased.
Okay.
I have used in one project. Integrate with one project and assemble and use. And this component provides 1 year extra patches. Maintenance. Patches.
Yeah, they will continue to supply you the patches.
Okay. I have completed my project within 6 months.
Okay.
Another 6 months is remaining, and same component used by another project.
Okay, for another project.
Then how that project can complete 6 months remaining? I have to retrieve. We have to retrieve.
Okay, then
patches.
see what happens is you will be using this procurement. The processes for the procurement management area only for those procurements which are directly for this project. Okay, now suppose your company has 20 different projects going on and you decide to buy one server. Okay, are you buying this server only for one project, and or you are saying that all the 20 projects will be now be hosted on that server?
No. First time I am using that server.
Okay.
But
Then
next coming
projects, okay, fine. Yours is the first project in the company, you use that. Then it will not be a part of this project. It will be a part of your capex, capital expenditure. Isn't it? What is capital expenditure?
Companies organization.
The money that you spend in building your assets, fixed assets, isn't it? And the one-time money that you have to spend. So let's say,
But sometimes part of this asset is always
Yeah.
pushed onto the project. Like,
push on the
I
project.
buy one now.
What happens is, suppose, okay, let's say the same server. That server is a state-of-the-art high-tech server which is costing 10 lakhs. Okay. The reason you decided to buy the server is because there is some dependency of this project on that, the performance of the server. But if that requirement will finish with this project, then instead of buying that server, you will say, let's find out from where we can buy the services of that. And then your services will be limited only for this project. So let's say Nishant is running a company and Nishant provided applications hosting, okay, or application services. And then you contact Nishan and you tell them that, okay Nishan, we need these high-end services for this project for next 6 months. He will say, okay fine, I'll give you access to that, I'll get you an instance for that, and you use that. And you pay me at end of 6 months or whatever it is. Closed. Okay? You will have to pay me 50,000 rupees for 6 months and your work is done. That server costs around 10 lakhs rupees. Now suppose you said that, okay, now with this we want to enter into a new type of business also. So we will buy the server, we will retain that, and we are going to use it for the other projects also. Can you bill the entire cost of the server to one single project? The total project budget may be 2 lakhs rupees. The server you are going to buy is for 10 lakhs rupees. Can you tell your customer that your total project cost is 12 lakhs rupees? No. So it means you will use a fraction of that capex into your project. Now talking about your cost management, this will not be a part of your procurement. No. What you will do is you will run a separate procurement process for that. That can be a project by its own, and you will calculate that prorated cost for that, and that will be an input to your project cost management. Remember, while estimating the cost, I told you the direct cost and indirect cost. Direct cost is the money spent on buying product, service or result specifically for this particular project. And indirect cost is your air conditioning. Of course, you did not install this, they did not install this air conditioning only for this workshop. This is to be used for all the activities which will take place in this
Means if we company purchases licenses of Microsoft products.
Absolutely.
These are the indirect costs.
Indirect cost. And how it is written off? So you bought that server, the life of the server is 5 years. Okay? You make an estimate that in 5 years time this will become obsolete and we will have to upgrade our server. You are spending 10 lakh rupees on the server, so every year you will have 20% depreciation. So that depreciation cost will be added to your indirect cost. And you will calculate that on a prorated basis, and whatever projects are going to take place in this year will use that prorated cost.
Clear?
Clear? Is it clear, ma'am? Sir, is it clear? You are probably getting lost in some of the topics.
Maybe.
Sure? Great, fantastic. So now your favorite part. So what is the primary objective of negotiation?
A.
What about you? Okay. What about you, sir?
B.
D.
B.
B or D?
B.
B boy. What about you, sir?
A.
Correct answer is A. The primary objective of negotiation is to have a win-win proposition. If it is not win-win,
then dispute will be
there will be disputes and it will not last longer.
The relation will be
Correct. Clear? Last topic was boring procurement, slightly.
Slightly boring, and plus we do not have this process, so
Yes.
that is where it is.
Yeah, so that actually happens. Most of the companies, they don't deal with directly with the procurement.
Yes.
But from the examination perspective, you have to read that.
Leader conference, tools and techniques. Leaders conference is tools and techniques. Procurement document, maker by decision, source selection or inputs.
B. B boy. C. What would you say?
B.
Sorry?
B. Make or buy.
The correct answer is she. She explained it already. Procurement documents, make or buy decision, and source selection criteria, they are all inputs. See, what it says is you are in the process of selecting a seller from the shortlisted ones. It means an awarding contract. It means you are in which process?
Planning.
No. Plan is already done.
Okay.
You have already taken a decision. You are in the process of selecting a seller. It means you are in conduct procurement. Now in conduct procurement, what are the inputs? A is the input, B is the input because we have already taken the decision in the plan procurement process, and D is the input, and C is the tools and techniques. So you got the right answer, but your approach was incorrect. Approach is very important. So in this question, first of all, in this kind of question, you need to find out you are in which process. Until and unless you know you are in which process, how can you tell whether it is an input or tools and techniques or it is an input or not? Okay? So getting the right answer is important, but knowing how to get there is more important than it. And that is all for the procurement, and that's all for the day also. So how was the day 2?
I think many topics we covered today.
Yeah,
Quantity
but the
wise.
topics are small,
Small,
like
small.
stakeholders. It took just half an hour. It was a very small thing. Communication, it was easy and small and simple also. Quality was also small. And another thing is, one thing that you probably should have noticed also, your familiarity with the topic has increased. So now you take less time to absorb that information. Isn't it? You know the inputs, you know the tools techniques, you know the output, you know the structure. So that is also helping. So how was the day 3 overall?
It was lengthy actually.
Lengthy?
There are too many topics that we have covered today. We started with the ground value,
Yeah.
and that was heavy. Then next one.
But it was actually the right balance of it.
Yeah, right.
See, other
It is
than
good that we did not take it yesterday evening,
yes.
because then we would have forgotten it.
correct. So it was fresh.
Yeah, it
You
was
started fresh. And then we did HR, which was easy. Communication was easy. Stakeholder was very easy.
Yeah, and
Isn't it? Quality was little bit complex, but I think, for me it was very easy. But you will have to decide whether it was easy or not.
But this procurement was a little bit, different,
Yes.
all
The
of this is
reason-
related.
The reason is that most of the people do not get involved with the procurement directly. Some of the people are not even aware of the standard processes. You knew about some quality because you deal with the quality on everyday basis. You are all people manager, so communication, stakeholders, HR was touching to your lives. So you were interested in that. Procurement, you probably never do that. So you were not that very keen to know about it. But from the examination point of view, you must learn and understand this also.
these things are fine, but then purchasing something from outside,
You don't deal with.
we don't deal with.
Yeah,
That is
so
why we never-
practically,
It's
yeah.
limited.
in a real life situation, it may not add value, but it is always good to know. So tomorrow, suppose someone is doing, suppose you had to buy some server, you had to buy some services, you had to buy something for your project. You know what is the correct way, isn't it? If you have to take a decision, cost may not be the only factor.
Procurement is pretty nice.
Cost may not be the only factor on which you are going to base your decision. There may be some other reasons also. Then what are the
Project
contract?
manager do not participate too much in this procurement process.
Ma'am, that depends whether you have the centralized processes or the decentralized processes. If it is a decentralized one, then project manager is the whole sole decision making authority in this. If it is a centralized one, then the role that you play in your company, you may not have to look into it in details. All you'll do is you'll tell your requirement to the purchase department,
Yeah.
we want this. Rest is their headache. Well, frankly speaking, in my career, I was never ever involved into this procurement process.
Purchase is always centralized everywhere.
All the big companies will have the centralized one. So practically, I also lack
But
the
for
practical
me,
experience here.
But Adani
For
is
him,
It was, I think, interesting topic because procurement, yes, the main thing for him.
He will have to do that all.
Yeah.
मैंने server और ये
In
सब
Adani
purchase
also
component
like-
purchase किया है.
Correct.
Means
Project manager
purchase
is purchase.
component related
Yes.
procurement process आ
He's
जाए.
he's ordering everything.
Means comparison, previous comparison.
That is
so
something I
can-
do, but then actual procurement like selecting vendor and bidding process.
Yeah,
something-
that a normal project manager in a small mid-sized company will not get involved into that. There is a huge process, and normally purchase people, you go anywhere, they are very, very peculiar about this. They will not let anyone enter into that space
Yeah.
for the reasons known to everyone.
But subcontracting sometimes they do.
In
Yes.
Gujarat, we have this
Subcontracting you
import
can get.
solution. They
Where
build
it's more of
the entire
technicality.
website who
Yes.
handles the
Okay.